Sziasztok! Jó reggelt mindenkinek, üdvözlök mindenkit ismét itt sok-sok szeretettel, Anubis vagyok. És ahogy láthatjátok, kicsit játszunk ismételten, vagy folytatjuk a... elnézést. A Star Trek nevezetű játékot, amihez ugye gépi magyarosítást használunk. Akit ugye esetleg elég sok gond és baj van, hiba van a játék, nem a játék, a gépi fordítással. Amikor megjelent a játék, azóta semmilyen változtatás, update nem jött a magyarosításhoz, viszont ugye ez szó szerint egy ilyen, ez a játék ilyen videó, ahol ugye nagyon fontos az, hogy értsük a dolgokat, ugye a mi döntéseink befolyásolnak mindent, így aki esetleg nem tud, majdnem azt mondom, hogy perfektű valamilyen nyelven, sőt azt hiszem csak angol támogat a játék, de nem vagyok már benne biztos, azoknak azért ez is egy elég nagy segítség, hisz azért 70-80%-ban érthető, vagy ki lehet találni. Szóval egy kicsit folytatjuk tovább a játékot, és megmondom nektek, hogy most kicsit meglepődtem, így 9:45 felé hoztam itt az eseményt, nézegettem, hogy na mivel játszunk, most már nincs sok időm, lassan ebéd, utána meg készülni kell, utána meg munka, és úgy voltam, hogy akkor játszunk ezzel a játékkal. Viszont most megint van egy kis gond és probléma az OBS-sel, megmondom nektek. Méghozzá az, hogy most is elindítottam a streamet, vagyis azelőtt megnéztem a zenéket, vagyis meg akartam volna nézni a zenéket, ahol van, csak nem tudtam belépni. Sőt, nincs is, nem elérhető. Szóval nem tudom, hogy esetleg azt most kivették egy picit, vagy valami update lesz, vagy valami gond és baj van már megint az OBS-sel, akkor fogom. Bár a zene a legkisebb gond és probléma, tegyük hozzá, ami működik a technika addig jó. De most is, hogy elindítottam a streamet, én elmentem még egy kábét lefőzni, ez a második. Itt is van. Szóval az meg egy jó 5 perc kb, ami megcsinálom. És azért nem mindegy, hogy azért egy tök csöndes kép megy, vagy videó megy, vagy azért van ugye valami jó kis zene mellette. Szóval ilyen szempontból szerintem azért nem rossz, ha van. Reméljük hamarosan megcsinálják, vagy működni fog, vagy valami. Meg a többi is marad úgy, hogy működjön. Na minden eset úgy voltam el, hogy akkor ezzel egy kicsit játszunk, és folytatjuk. Illetve köszönöm, hogy itt vagytok, ismételten, hogy bekövettek, hogy lájkoljátok a videókat. Köszönöm mindenkinek. És akkor szerintem folytassuk is a sztorit. Mert én mind science fiction fan, illetve Star Trek fan, bejön a game. Meg gondolom azért nektek is. Jó grafikája van. Jónak néz ki a sztori. Ez. Ja, folytatjuk. Hát most már jó pár napja, hogy játszottunk a játékkal, emlékeztek? Kiteszem teljes képernyőt. Azt hiszem kiléptünk a hipertérből. Pityi.
Mr. Diaz, I understand you have already discussed the warp drive failure with Ambassador Spock?
I have.
It is imperative that the Ambassador's shuttle be flight ready. I need you both to ascertain the root cause of the system failures he encountered.
I'm surprised, Commander. I thought you would have wanted to work on Ambassador Spock's shuttle yourself.
I respect the Ambassador and his many accomplishments, but I do not derive any satisfaction from interacting with his shuttle as if it were somehow transubstantiated through its association with him. Especially when I have the entirety of this starship to concern myself with.
The Ambassador asked me to take a look, and I'm ready to crack this thing open.
Good. You could learn from Mr. Diaz's focus.
I'll take notes.
Then I will leave you to it. Make note of any abnormalities in your report. Carry on.
One nice thing about Vulcans. Chobot is...
És ugye a döntéseink, ahogy mondtam nektek, befolyásolnak mindent, ezért is nagyon fontos, hogy értsünk viszonylag mindent. Aki azért ugye beszéli, például most angol, tényleg nem emlékszem már, hogy a játék az csak angol érhető el, vagy van benne azért más nyelv is. De akit esetleg ugye zavar a magyar felirat, amiben vannak hibák, az nem tudom, mint mondani, ne nézze. Viszont aki meg nem beszél jól angolul, vagy nem érti, az annak meg viszont segítség igen nagy. Szóval azt akartam különben még mondani, hogy ugye amikor döntünk, hozunk egy döntést, akkor fönt bal oldalt lehet látni, hogy zöld, pozitív, fehér, semleges, vagy ugye vörös, hogy negatív. És ugye két személlyel játszunk, vagy a történetét, szemszögét, nem is tudom, hogy mondjam. Az egyik ugye ő, mondjuk ugye a kocsis, akit most láthattatok, a másik meg ugye Já, az első tiszt. Nem kilépni akar, bocsi. És az egész szó szerint egy videó.
Doc says I should get used to it. Doesn't mean I want to be reminded of it every minute of the day.
Ezt mondtam, ez fehér, akkor semleges.
Now that sounds like self-pity, and I'm even less interested in that.
Nilly. Okay.
Let's just crack the shuttle open and see what we're dealing with.
Viszont ne felejtsétek el, hogy ő mondta, hogy mi menjünk először.
Ready to go?
All set. Let's run the diagnostic.
És itt hagytuk abba múltkor. Hát már jó múltkorában. A diagnosztika, gondolom ide kell kattintani. Diagnosztika kezdése.
So, I know about your talk with Miranda.
You do?
She sent me a priority 1 dispatch right after your conversation. I'm happy for you. Both of you.
Thanks.
But I'm only going to tell you this once. Don't screw this up. Because I would be very unhappy if you tried this out and then, I don't know, 6 weeks or 6 days later I have to start splitting holidays between the two of you. All because things went south and you're not on speaking terms. That just isn't gonna work for me.
That's not gonna happen, okay? And why are you even going there? We haven't even gone on a date yet.
I just want you to know where I stand. I like my friends and I like our group. I don't want to lose that.
Nem fogod.
Is that thing done?
Yeah, it's wrapping up. Let's see. The relays along the primary EPS are blown. The backup relays are all intact.
De hangos lett.
An EPS overload from the warp drive could cause that. But how did the shuttle end up dead in the water?
Huh. Well, maybe the ship's data recorder can tell us something.
Tessék? Lemaradtam. Mit kell? Adatok? Gondolom ez. Jézusom, de furcsa. D.
Here.
They were only about 8 minutes from their plotted warp point. No faults, just those warnings. What are they?
Ki? És azt mondom, hogy mit kell csinálni. A kezemet tudom mozgatni. Aha.
There was a complete
Megvan.
warp cascade failure.
Wow. They're lucky the shuttle didn't turn inside out.
Makes me think the computer panicked on the warp field equation.
Meg kell nézni mindet? Aha.
The warp field became inverted suddenly.
I've seen this happen when the center warp coil cracks.
A cracked warp coil throws a fault code.
Still, we should take a look.
Ne, milyen hangos, nem?
Subspace variance out of tolerance. What does that mean?
It means the main navigation array lost sight of space somehow.
Will the array going offline cause that?
Yes, but it should have also thrown a fault code. Any one of these failures should have thrown a fault.
If it was caused by a system failure.
None of this caused the relays to blow. Roll forward to when that happened.
Yes, ma'am.
Megyünk tovább, oké.
So here, they take a moment to get their bearings and they attempt to re-engage the warp drive.
There. That's the relays blowing.
And look, there's another warp system alert.
They're all the same. Subspace variants out of tolerance, or warp inversions. Finally, there's a complete warp cascade failure.
Then it's one of two things. Either a warp coil is cracked, or the navigation array is offline.
That makes sense.
Divide and conquer. You want to check the warp coils or the navigation array? I'll check the other. Let's not overcomplicate this. One of these systems is likely broken.
Szerintem a
Check the
tekercsek.
nacelles for a cracked coil.
Ó, és bejön a tricorder használat. Aha, az a lehet ugye. Meg az orvosi részen is ugye ezzel szoktak reszkennelni, megvizsgálni bennünket. Használja a kettőt. Én nyom. Letapogatás. Aha. Őt is lehet tapogatni? Hát szerintetek közelebb kell menjek? Nem, szerintem a másik oldalt van dolgunk. Ezzel. Mást én nem látok. Oké, többféle Q és E. De most nekem melyik kéne szerintetek? Ja, ezt folyamatosan nyomni kell. Látjátok? Jézusom! Jézus, egy... Ja, nem, elég, ha folyamatosan nyomjuk, jó. Tudom, hogy élőben vagyok, köszi YouTube, Discord. Ez megvan. Nincs más. Itt sincs más. Le van szkennelve, nem? Halló? És írja is, hogy mi a gond és probléma. Vagy mi volt. Nincs mit szkenneljek alól vörös tartományba, hogy látom. Jó, Azt szerintem én ezt szkenneltem az egészet, nem? Igen. Oké.
I checked every coil on the port in the cell for imbalances. If any coil in either engine were cracked, I would have detected it. So, it must be the navigation array.
Except it's not. Checked and double-checked.
Well, the readings don't lie.
Here comes the security detail for the way team.
Ja, ők biztonságiak. Jó tudni.
Hey.
I'm not here.
We're escorting the negotiating team to the surface as soon as they come down from the bridge. I don't want to interrupt some important work. I was just hoping to see you before I go. The captain and the others will be here any minute now. Should be an interesting ride down to the surface.
You're the one with the important job to do. Keeping the captain safe. And Ambassador Spock.
It doesn't always feel that way. Baking in the hot sun, standing guard next to an empty shuttlecraft. But it has its moments.
Hey, Maris. Aren't these those button pushers you're always hanging out with?
And you're the phaser jockeys we always beat in Parisi squares, right?
All aboard for Hotari.
That another one of the captain's railroad things?
Gotta be. I just usually zone out by the time he gets to the whole steam engines where the warp drives.
Kicsit olyan, mintha ugye egy filmet néznénk, de nekem tetszik.
You don't want to miss your train.
Aki szereti a science fiction meg a Star Trek-et, aznak szerintem ez is bejön.
I do have to go.
Sok dolgunk ugye nincs, de jó.
Not gonna lie.
Ugye vissza is
I'd rather
nézem,
not
fogok.
leave right now.
Ó, azért munkában ne!
More important things on my mind.
Do me a favor. Come back safe.
Deal.
Szóval biztonsági különben a barátnők, most már ugye
Be seeing you.
Ciao!
Etzelarda Diaz. If you could float back down to reality, we still have a ways to go. All right, where were we?
Hey!
So, the warp coils in the navigation array are fine, but the nav computer doesn't seem to think so.
I'm out of ideas short of field stripping the shuttle from bow to stern.
You wanna take this out of the shuttle and throw it on the bench?
Oh, real hands-on maintenance. I like it. Okay, the nav computer is patched into the ship.
The ship's computer can double-check our work. If the shuttle's nav computer is putting out false data, we'll know it.
Let's run through the shuttle's logs again.
Running now. Same. Warp field inversion and a cascade failure. However, the Resolute computer doesn't show the same subspace variance.
We're in the same conditions that the shuttle was in when it failed. Why wouldn't the ship's computer get a matching result?
What if the subspace variance was a momentary occurrence?
That's a possibility, and it would explain why the simulation under our current sensor readings failed to reproduce the issue.
But a subspace anomaly strong enough to cause a warp field collapse would leave graviton ripples for days.
Let's run with the momentary subspace variance theory for now. Roll forward to the shuttle's attempt to re-engage the warp drive. We need the conditions of space around the shuttle at the moment of warp failure.
Resuming simulation.
Pillanat, egy valamit megnézek. Mi az ördög van itt? Most semmi nem működik?
Error in warp field calculation. Cochrane formula variables are out of range.
That right there. Take the shuttle sensor data from that moment.
Computer, why did the warp field calculation fail?
Warp field pressure returned non-orthogonal. Results are undefined.
That doesn't help.
Wait, what if we use a different ship?
But the Resolute into the simulation instead of the shuttle.
Yeah, it should warp just fine. Unless... Computer, run the simulation with the Resolute.
Resolute simulated.
Computer, give me manual control on the warp power.
Static intensity, warp 1.1. 1.2. 3. Warp pressure is destabilizing. Error in warp field calculation. The warp drive has experienced a system-wide cascade failure. Warp field collapsed. Subspace variance is out of tolerance. Cochrane formula results are undefined.
Bingo.
What-o?
The same moment when the shuttle failed to warp, so did the ship. Whatever happened to the shuttle just happened to us. The Resolute will not sustain warp.
We can't leave Hotari space.
Szóval az ő hajójukkal van valami gond és probléma. Van ám ott hajó. Milyen jól néz ki, nem? Megjöttünk. A hatalom székhelye.
Ambassador Spock, Captain Solano, welcome to Hotari. We are honored you have come. My name is Tyler Altaris, Minister of Diplomatic Affairs.
The honor is ours, and this is Commander Jara Rydick, first officer aboard the USS Resolute. You'll find she has a keen mind, and unique insight into the dynamics between the Hotari and the Lydians.
We are honored to be here, as representatives of the Federation.
I'm so glad.
These must be the representatives of the mighty Federation. The reigning authority in the galaxy. Or so we've been led to believe. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen. But, either way, we're grateful you've made the time to come to our little corner of the universe.
And you are?
This is Galvin, and this is Sidron, the heroes of the revolt in the mines.
Szóval mondjuk úgy az ellenség. Ők a fejletlenebbek.
Let's hope this is the last time we ever have to come here.
If you'll excuse me.
Ez két külön faj.
I think we're about to begin.
Did you hear the arrogance from that guy? I don't know what we're walking into here, but that guy was something.
Something about his tone tells me this won't be easy.
That was my sense as well.
I doubt he speaks for all of Hotari, so I would urge patience until we speak with their queen.
Ó, van királynő. Menjünk a tiszteletni.
Ambassador Spock, welcome to Hotari Prime.
The honor is mine, Your Majesty.
That the Federation would send one of their most respected representatives is not only an honor to the Hotari people,
Oké, élveket.
but a recognition of our stature and importance.
Let's get on with it, shall we? With all due respect to the Federation and their ambassador, they have no authority here. We are not members of their alliance. We are not subject to their rule, nor yours. We demand the immediate return of all mining operations to Lydian control, as it has been for centuries and will be for centuries more. That has always been our understanding.
That understanding has changed.
Then you invite war.
And if you cannot remain silent, you will be silenced. But his point is well taken. What is the Federation's interest in this matter? Perhaps you would have us trade one oppressor for another?
The Federation remains neutral. Our only interest is the peaceful resolution of this conflict.
De szerintem ez nem lesz ilyen egyszerű, hiszitek?
For now.
Saying this wouldn't be easy was an understatement. I thought they wanted us here.
Was there something you wanted to say, Captain?
Oh, no. My apologies.
And what about the Kobliad?
She's not part
She can speak for herself, can't she? Then let her.
Most jövök én?
Now then, what is your name?
Commander Jara Rydek, Your Majesty.
Being a Kobliad, you would know better than anyone. Your people suffered brutal treatment
az a faj
at the
vagyunk,
hands of the
Kobliad.
Cardassians. Their injustice towards the Kobliad is as unimaginable as it is unforgivable. Not unlike how we have been treated by the Lydians.
As much as they'd have you believe they are the victims here, remember it was the Hotari who attacked us. Hundreds of innocent Lydians were slaughtered without mercy in those mines.
The blood is on their hands, not ours.
Quiet!
Szóval ők a fejlettebb
If
faj.
after all the Kobliad suffered, you finally had the chance to right that wrong, to get out from under their control, would you take it? Or would you negotiate a peace?
There is no remedy for what the Kobliad suffered. And I fear who we might have become in pursuit of it. There is no justice if the oppressed become the oppressor. So I would willingly accept a peaceful resolution if it were offered. That is the real opportunity.
Perhaps, Commander Rydek. Perhaps. Unfortunately, that was not the case, was it?
No. It was not.
Peace is often elusive to those who need it most. The Federation is the most powerful, most advanced alliance in the galaxy. It's widely known we have an abundance of dilithium in our mines. And it's in your interest to secure a steady supply.
Your Majesty, if I may.
Ambassador Spock would have us believe you're here as a neutral party in the interest of peace. So why are you really here? I want the truth, not your Federation rhetoric.
As Ambassador Spock has said, we've come seeking a peaceful resolution to this conflict, and have no interest in your dilithium.
I'm not nearly as naive as you must think. The Federation has done business with the Lydians for decades.
Volt róla szó ugye, hogy itt ez milyen anyag?
What they haven't said but cannot deny is a simple.
Jó, ők pozitívan vannak, akik velünk
not
vannak.
and will no longer exist without a Lydian involvement. We created it for the benefit of everyone, especially the Hotari. We've given them warp technology. We've let them share in the profits. We've made their lives infinitely better than before dilithium was discovered. All of that goes away if the Federation turns a blind eye to their treachery.
That is enough of your lies! The Hotari are quite capable of running the mines. We've done so for centuries. So tell me, Who deserves control of the dilithium trade and the mines on Tau? Who should the Federation recognize? The Hotari or the Alidians?
Melyik nemzet?
Only be one or the other, not both.
If I have to choose only one, then it would have to be the Hotari.
Well said. How could the just and wise Federation make any other choice?
This is an outrage. The Federation has lost all credibility.
The mines are ours. Lydia will not be deterred. We will take back our mines by any means necessary.
Then you will see more blood spilled.
I am more than willing to address your concerns, Your Majesty. Yours as well, Representative. But I suggest we could have a more productive conversation with a smaller group. Perhaps only the most essential representatives.
I suppose there is some sense to that.
Jó, ez egy leegyszerűsített tárgyalás. Na, milyen kell majd tiétek?
I hope we meet again, Jara Ryder.
Hú, basszus, melyik nemzet? Föderáció ugye nem így szokott tárgyalni, de hát ő kérte, hogy mondjak valakit.
You make nice with the locals and see if you can get some answers. We need to find out why the Hotari are so willing to risk war. What happened in those mines?
Hogy ne beszéljek? Hogy, biztos jó lesz. Én napot! Hozzuk mi? Nagy a játéka, nem bíz.
Soothing.
Commander, I'm glad you've chosen to side with the Hotari. I knew the Federation would see through the Alidians' baseless claims and protect the interests of my people.
To be clear, I'm not on either side of this conflict. Our only interest is peace.
I will keep that in mind.
I assume you were there, the day the mines were seized from the Alidians.
Not seized. Reclaimed. And restored to their rightful owners. Yes, I was there. We had to be decisive. Before the Alidians could even realize their worst nightmares upon them.
Did you have help from someone else?
Hotari stands alone against the Alidian forces. We don't need help from anyone.
Szóval egyedül vannak.
They respect one thing above all else, and that is force. The greater the force, the more certain the outcome.
De ők ugye a fejletlenebbik faj.
Any talk of making peace is just that, and worth little without the strength to secure it. Which makes me wonder about your ship, the Resolute. Undoubtedly the Federation's finest warship. Ready to contend with anything the Alidians might have in store.
Nem hadidi hajó.
Or is that not true? Maybe I've misjudged it.
It wasn't designed as a warship. More for scientific research and exploration.
But the Federation must have ships designed for war.
Technically, they're Starfleet ships representing the Federation. But yes.
I see.
Sidron.
A pleasure meeting you, Commander. I'm sure we'll cross paths again.
Az biztos. Itt még lesz konfliktus.
I'm encouraged to see the Federation supporting my people. I'm afraid of what might happen without your help.
If anyone deserves thanks, it's Ambassador Spock. No one is more invested in negotiating a peaceful settlement to this conflict than he is.
I'm so glad. We need his help before the situation escalates further than it already has. It's been very trying. I saw you speaking with Sidron, our national hero. I'm curious, what did he say?
He seems to be of the opinion that negotiating for peace is a waste of time.
Because force is the only blunt instrument he understands. He's a miner, not a diplomat. For the first time in our history, the Hotari have the upper hand. We see ourselves as strong instead of downtrodden. New voices have risen up. Old voices shouted down. Galvin and Sidron have become national heroes. Now they have the Queen's ear. Better or worse, depending on your perspective.
I get the sense you don't exactly trust them.
I don't trust their instincts, which are leading us to war. My fear has been that the Illidians will launch an attack and crush us. You've seen their starship, no doubt. They could have retaken the mines whenever they wanted to, but it never happened. And as strange as this may sound, I'd almost say they're afraid. I just don't know what they're afraid of. It's still the same bluster and bravado you would expect from them.
Szövetség az mi vagyunk
nagyon. Like they're afraid of what might happen.
Föderációtól.
Was it for fear of the repercussions, once the Federation became part of the equation?
Possibly. But I almost want to say this was from the very start. Before engaging the Federation was even on the table. Since the day of the revolt, Galvin has seized control of the mines and restricted all access. No one's allowed without his personal authorization. And they've taken over a section of the palace with just as much secrecy and security. I'm told it could be something they brought back from the mines. I've made inquiries, but everyone pretends it doesn't exist. I strongly suspect they're hiding something.
What do you think it is?
I've heard rumors it's some sort of ancient artifact, but I haven't seen it myself.
How can we know?
I'd better see what's happening.
Do you think you can find out what they're hiding? I need to see proof of something before I can make my case to the Federation.
I can try, but even if I found it, I might not know what to make of it.
Take this. You can use it to capture whatever you find, and then send it to me.
Gondolom egy szkennel.
I will let you know what I find. And I look forward to our meeting again.
Okay.
Sorry, I couldn't help but notice you were speaking with the Hotari this whole time. I figured in the interest of fairness, I should offer another perspective.
Of course.
I'm probably not telling you anything you don't already know, but these negotiations rely on the Federation's neutrality, as does any hope you might have for a supply of dilithium in the future. So, why you would choose to side with the Hotari escapes me. Without Illidian involvement, there is no dilithium trade. But clearly, you weren't aware.
We are and will remain completely neutral. Our only interest is the peaceful resolution to this conflict.
As is ours. Of course, the question is, at what price?
Ők a fejlettebbek, ugye?
A Major Sarlet Arminta, Special Attaché, Illidian Armed Forces. Pleasure to meet you, Commander. I have my issues with the Hotari, but I have to give them some credit. They know how to seize an opportunity. Inciting an uprising the same day as a massive, once-in-a-lifetime ion storm.
Our assumption was that this storm was just an anomaly.
Yes, a very convenient anomaly. At least that was what we were told. Of course, I wasn't there. But who am I to say otherwise?
You sound skeptical.
Well, the official story is that it was the storm that enabled the revolt. How else do a bunch of unarmed, unorganized miners seize control of an entire moon, much less thousands of mines? But I've talked to people who were there. They tell a different story. They say they're lucky to have escaped with their lives. That it was more than just the storm. That somehow the miners were able to harness the energy from the storm. I know it sounds crazy. I'm not even sure I believe it myself. But that's what they said.
The energy readings we've seen are off the charts. There's no way they'd be able to somehow harness it. That sort of technology doesn't even exist.
I know. I felt the same way. But each person told the same story.
És akkor most ő is bemegy.
If you'll excuse me, Commander Ryder.
Tudjátok, mire hasonlít ez a... nem tudom, háború, lázadás, vagy még nem háború. Romulánok. Ugye Romulusnál is, azt hiszem az a fővárosuk, vagy főbolygójuk a Romulánoknak, ott van egy hold. És ebből volt film is, a Star Trek Nemesis talán. Hogy itt is valami olyasmi, hogy ugye a Romulánok voltak a fejlettek, illetve most nem tudom, hogy kik a másikak, akik a bányákban voltak a Holdon, akiket ugye a Romulánok ott dolgoztattak, a fejletlen népek, és ott volt a Pikának a fiatalkori klónja is, oda száműzték, és kicsit arra baj az, úgy értem, értitek? Ja, jelentem kell, hol kell jelentenem? Nagyon szép.
They seem proud of their culture. Pride can lead to rash action.
De megpróbálok úgy játszani most jelenleg, hogy föderációs vagyok, szóval semleges próbálok már. De hol kell mennem jelenteni, haló? Bemenni vagy kimenni? Nem mindjárt kiderül. Hát szerintem bemennem kell. Hát ha nem megy jobbra, akkor megy balra, nem? Napot! Kocogok! Hú, milyen fegyverik vannak. Én is megyek be. Közben iszom a kávémat. Egy jó helyre lefőztem.
The Hotari refused to concede anything, so the Illidians stormed out.
The Hotari did not invite us here as peacekeepers. I hope your efforts were more.
Ezt akartam mondani, és hol a szöveg? Itt még tűzharc lesz.
Gravitational harmonics failing to resolve. Warp bubble stability degrading. Increase output to maximum.
Increasing warp output to maximum.
It's happening again.
Mi? Hiperhajtómű hiba.
It is evident that presently the Resolute cannot achieve warp propulsion.
Since our diagnostics rule out any problems with our warp systems or anything about the ship, the problem appears to be the fabric of space itself.
Space itself? You're saying something about this region of space prevents warp travel?
Prevents it, or can't sustain it.
However improbable, that appears to be the case.
We need to know more.
Well, couldn't we slowboat it out of here at impulse speed?
It may come to that, but we don't know how far this warp dead zone extends.
Még nem tudunk belépni a hiperhajtóműbe. De hiperhajtómű. Hipertérbe, bocs, nem működnek a hiperhajtóművek. Valószínűleg a vihar miatt.
Given the facts at hand, we may be able to deploy subspace probes around the ship to construct a clear picture of the phenomenon.
Around the ship. I'll prep a shuttle.
Okay. Haladjunk! Milyen jól néz ki már, nem?
I'm setting up a waypoint at a distance roughly corresponding to the edge of our warp field. When we get there, I'll deploy the first probe.
Pillanat. QE-vel emelkedés, süllyedés, jó. Jó, igazából az egér. Jó. Haladjunk. Hú, bazd meg. Nincs valami külső nézet? Mi az? Ágyú tűz?
Commander Westbrook, the Resolute systems are calibrated to receive the probe's readings. We are standing by to reproduce the warp field collapse.
Egér is megy különbe. Hadd lőjek már. Biztos lőni kell.
And Mr. Diaz, do take care in piloting the shuttlecraft. Now is not the time to indulge in the human penchant for joyriding.
Ennek is vannak részei, nem?
Shovak probably isn't such a fun guy to work
Nem, egy
for.
kicsit gyorsabban menni. Nem olvastam a szöveget.
Lieutenant Commander Chovak's not so bad.
Megpróbálok vezetni, bocs.
Once you get used to him. And I've learned a lot working under him.
I have a feeling I'm going to have to work harder to be a political animal like you. This new first officer coming aboard.
Hát egy külső nézet nekem jobban bejönne. Jézusom. És miért dobál engem a hajó? Ezt mondjátok meg. Mi a fordított szerintetek? Hogy hátrafelé megyek? Megjöttem, nem? Megjöttünk.
Transporting the first probe into position.
Ó, basszus! Szondákat kell kidobjunk. De jó lesz. És akkor mehetünk gondolom tovább.
The first probe is deployed.
Understood. We are reading it. We are about to replay the simulation.
Problem? I just can't get a handle on her. Commander Rydek. On the one hand, she went with my idea to use a deflector pulse against the storm surge. On the other, she wouldn't listen to me when I was trying to get you through the hull walk alive. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the new XO. I'm sure she's a fine officer, even if we don't see eye to eye. But she didn't go through what the rest of us did. You know that. And it's hard to figure out why she'd be the one Solano chose instead of, well, one of us.
I've heard some good things. You should at least give her a chance.
I'll take that under advisement.
Test is running. Warp field collapse in 3, 2, 1, mark.
Whoa. All right, that is definitely a problem with the fabric of space. We need to get another probe out there.
Gondoltam, hogy ez az, megyünk tovább.
With 2 points of data, the Resolute and the probe, we've managed to get an interference pattern. I'm setting a waypoint to a particularly strong area of interference. We'll deploy the second probe there. Listen, I'm gonna give you a piece of advice.
Tehát én nyomom az alt, basszus.
Make sure you're never just one thing. Don't get so focused on what's in front of your face that you lose sight of the big picture. Before Rydek showed up, the captain pulled me into his ready room and told me he didn't think I had the skills to be first officer.
Megkerülek, basszus.
What a load of crap. I mean, if he'd said that about Chovak, sure.
Az a baj, hogy most a vezetések koncentrálok és nem azon, hogy mit beszélnek. Nem kell a izé ahhoz, hogy lejjen menjek, így is megy. Nem tudom mi ez a csip-csip hang. Talán az, hogy milyen közel van a valamilyen metal van. Nincs ami gyorsabb... menet. Ezt nem, ezt autót nem kell kidobjuk. Ez elég hosszan eltartott úgy. Ó, boldog vagyok. Jelenleg a vezetése koncentrál, nem arra, hogy miről beszéltek, bocsi. Szerintetek én itt átfigyel? Ilyenkor még kell beszélgetniük? Jó, az ember mindig beszél, ha valami van. Mi van az, hogy ágyú tűz? Hát nincsen krízeim, vagy lesz, vagy lehet, hogy majd kelleni fog? Megtámadnak bennünket? És messze vagyunk a hajónktól. Na, mindjárt ott vagyunk, látjátok? Jött a második. Második.
Stop the engines. Deploying the probe.
És akkor mindjárt következőt, ezt gondolom.
Very good. Running the simulation again. Warp field collapse in 3, 2, 1.
There it is again.
I saw it. It seems to be directional.
Well, what about the scans? Anything?
Here's the readings in relation to our local space. We've got the Resolute, Otari Prime, and the probes.
All this interference is overloading the sensor buffers. We're gonna have to triangulate the sensors manually.
Mit keresek meg?
We got something.
These markers indicate peaks in the gravimetric interference patterns.
Let's see if I can find some more.
Csak egy darabig ott kell tartani, oké.
Hold up. This is coming from the moon.
A beam that blocks warp travel.
Aimed right at us.
Someone is doing this intentionally. I don't know how they're doing it. This is like nothing I've ever seen.
We're under attack and we didn't even know it. We need to stop them. Unplug whatever it is they're hitting us with.
Now, look here. It's the current readings of the ion storm.
These concentrations. They line up with the interference pattern. The storm.
Ezek szerint valamit találtak a bányába.
They're coming from the same place.
Carter, whatever petty local conflict brought us here, it's just a small part of something much bigger.
Mindig ez szokott lenni minden filmben, talán Star Trekben. Egy sokkal nagyobb hatalom.
Presently, we don't have an explanation for how they're doing this. One thing is clear. This is no fluke.
Thank you, Mr. Westbrook. I want a full briefing when I'm back on board. Solano out. A targeted weapon that inhibits warp travel. Coming from the moon Tau.
That would explain the difficulties my shuttle encountered. More importantly, the tenor of the Hotari during the negotiations.
Here I thought the Illydians would be the problem. Coming to peace talks in a warship. This wasn't supposed to be so complicated.
For all their posturing, every indication is that the Illydians are afraid of the Hotari. They didn't bring their warship as a threat. They brought it because they're scared.
From everything we witnessed, I would say that is highly likely.
But what are they afraid of?
Tylus, the Hotari representative, said she thought they found something in the mines. Galvin and Sidron brought it back to the palace, but they're keeping it under tight security. She's going to investigate it. I gave her my tricorder. I expect she'll contact us soon.
You found an ally.
Why would Tylus help us? Go behind her people's back? It's a fair question, considering.
Out of all of them, she's the one who seemed to genuinely appreciate that the Federation was involved. She believes in us, and I think we can believe in her.
That may be true.
She's certainly more likely to help than the other Hotari we've met.
That raises another question. Specifically, what do the other Hotari have to gain in bringing us here, only to make this hostile maneuver against us? There must be some motivation.
Unless they change their minds between when they asked.
Most nem tudok jobbat mondani.
Given their indifference to the negotiations, and what we now know about this warp-disrupting weapon, it's almost as if they want to start a war. And Sidron was convinced the only thing the Illidians respect is force.
I would say he's right about that. But at least they know when to hold back.
But that does not explain why they would turn their aggressions against us.
I don't think the Illidians know what's really down on that moon either.
Major Arminta said the revolt defied explanation. That the Hotari miners somehow harnessed the energy of the storm.
Harness the energy of the storm?
Doing that is beyond even our capabilities.
So is a weapon that disrupts warp travel.
There have been civilizations and entities, both past and present, far more technologically advanced than the Federation.
The Illidians and Hotari don't fall into that category.
But that is all the more reason to investigate further.
Commander Rydek, sorry to interrupt. We've received an urgent call from Hotari. Queen's advisor, Tylus, has asked to speak with you.
Put her through.
Jó, valamit kitalált?
Galvin and Sidron are still with the Queen. I've enlisted help to gain access to the room they have under guard. I don't have much time.
I'm not supposed to leave my post.
It's only for a moment. I so appreciate your help.
Fogadjunk, hogy elkapják.
I found something. I'm sending you a scan.
Papa.
Got it. Tylus, if we needed to gain access to the mines on Tau, is that something you could help us with?
I suppose it wouldn't be easy, but I have to go.
Tylus.
Can we reconnect?
Sorry, Captain. We've lost all contact.
We can only hope she escaped without harm.
It was hard to tell.
We have to help her. Send another shuttle.
We're not
or
doing
maybe...
anything yet. Not until we know more. Let's see the scan of whatever the hell that was.
Szerintem találtak valamilyen idegen eszközt.
Tylus suspects this came from the mines on Tau.
It appears to be of
Igen, valami ősi
ancient
eszköz.
origin, but the markings are unfamiliar.
És megtudták, hogy kell használni.
We get back to the Resolute. But if this came from the mines, then it might be the key to how they got the upper hand against the Illidians.
Then we have to go into the mines.
The Federation would not allow that. We're, after all, sent here to be a neutral party in a peace negotiation. However, we could demonstrate that the Hotari have acted in bad faith, which would enable us to investigate the mines on Tau with full justification. But of course, we would need conclusive proof before taking action. Otherwise, it could put us in a difficult position.
Whatever this artifact is may be proof enough. At least to satisfy the Federation.
Especially if we can show the Hotari are controlling the warp disruption and targeting the Resolute.
We may have a better understanding once we analyze the device. But
Érdekes, hogy itt a szubtélmezőt izének nevezik.
Is not out of the question.
Jó, nem jó a fordítás, de értitek.
Will handle the Federation.
Na, alakul a kis csapat.
As I was telling Carter, I want all the data I can get on this warp problem. And the negotiating team's shuttle has been recording data all the way back from Hotari. Even better than our pros. So pull the sensor and engine ISOs from the Melville when it sets down.
Will do.
I'll join you and Chovak down in engineering to run another analysis after the briefing.
I didn't like this warp problem when we thought it was some astronomical anomaly. And I like it a hell of a lot less now that we know someone is doing it to us. How does it work? What do we even do about it?
You say we pull these chips and find out?
Took some damage on the way. That ionic interference scored the hull plating. Might be some micro welds. Let's try pulling together.
All right.
3, 2, 1.
Várjál.
It won't budge. Gotta be the storm damage. We need to... Welcome back. Any excitement down on the surface?
Excitement? No. Nothing like that.
Hey, can you hand me the EJ7 interlock? From the toolbox.
I don't know what that is.
Not much use for one on a security detail, huh? Carter?
Yeah, I'll get it.
Kocsis meg szerintem pilóta. Ja, azt kell.
Okay, I'll apply pressure while you decouple the panel.
Pillanat, nem megy ez olyan gyorsan.
Here, I'll help.
No! Ez így csinál. Elfeszítették.
You got this.
Open up and say ah.
Thanks for the hand. We have to get these isolinear chips down to engineering.
No problem.
Még ezt a részt megcsináljuk, fiúk, lányok. Mert ugye részenként van mentés a játékba. Hoppá.
Like a walking Starfleet technical manual.
What can I say? I'm good at what I do.
I can see that.
Come on, start pulling chips.
Mindegy. Nem olvastam, hogy most miért volt szó. Szerintem a kis csajsz is szerelmes a srácba. Ahogy néz meg minden. Jó, bazd meg. Bazd meg. Hát amíg így köcsög csinál, azzal nincs bajom. Nem, ki kell venni mindent. Most így... Hoppá! Az elment. Az mi?
What's this?
Some kind of crystal formation?
Hol van? Pillanat.
Whoa. This substance is a quantized spin crystallization of hydrogen, carbon, and lithium. It's emitting tetrametric pulses at an interval of 3.8422 seconds.
Quantized crystallization isn't natural. I mean, it's only theoretical as a means to engineer matter on a subatomic level. What's it doing in there?
Jó kérdés. Jó dolog megfogni kézzel.
Wait, Regulation 364, subsection 9.
What?
Regulation 364, subsection 9 orders that in the case of an unknown foreign substance infiltrating a sealed system, it will be placed in secure confinement before further examination. Retrieve a containment module.
Don't you think we're more equipped to deal with whatever this is?
No. Before anything else, this is a security issue.
És ez az én munkám.
You don't even know what this is.
Which is why we need to study it.
Once it's contained.
Just leave it there for now. Messing around with it could be dangerous. At least until we know more.
That's exactly why we need to get it to the containment lab. I can't make an exception just for you.
I'm still going to report these crystals to Commander Westbrook when we send the shuttle data.
And I will inform my superiors. I'm taking this just as seriously as you are. But I overheard talk about the warp disruption on the shuttle. Now these crystals? Maybe this situation is more than we can handle with just a science vessel. We could trigger a distress call, get Starfleet to send more ships. Or I could send a message to my old CO on the Adirondack. Get some combat-tested vessels. We shouldn't do this alone.
We're at the edge of the quadrant. Help isn't just gonna pop over like we're in Sector 001.
Wouldn't hurt to try.
You talk like you've never had your backs up against a wall before. This is Starfleet. We solve our own problems.
Okay, stand back.
Azt hittem megfogja valami és beteszi. Nem, teleport.
We'll get it set up for you. I'll let you know when it's safely confined.
Oh, we'll be there.
Last thing you want is to study this down in main engineering and have it explode next to the warp core. Almost forgot.
Can't have that.
For a second, I thought she'd gone cold on you. Like she might have changed her mind. But I guess this whole situation has her spooked. Maybe she knows more than us? Or it's because this is all happening so fast?
Well, of course she's taking it seriously, but that's her job. She's on duty, she's gotta be on the lookout for danger.
Yeah, but talking about sending a distress call on her own? That's going too far. She was probably just thinking out loud. I'm sure she'll come to her senses. This mission has enough complications stacking up.
Ahogy minden küldetésnek.
You, me, and Miranda too.
Ez mindig így szokott lenni a Star Trekbe.
Commander Rydek was able to work behind the scenes during the negotiations and made contact with a representative from the Hotari delegation named Tylus. She mentioned an unusual
Jó, fiúk, lányok, innen folytatjuk majd. Úgyis 11:20 van. Jól emlékszem, menteni nem kell, mert így részenként ment a játék, ugye? Szuper. Na, hát én mindig azt mondom, hogy egy tök jó kis játék. Nem ilyen játékokhoz szoktam, de ez is egy tök jó kis game. Talán mondom, aki szereti a science fiction, meg a Star Trek-et. Szerintem tök jó. Magyarosítás is úgy elmegy azért. Szóval... köszi, hogy itt voltatok ismételten, és azért még egyszer mondom, hogy kicsit meglepett a technika egyenlőre, hogy az elmúlt múlt héten se volt gond és probléma, jelenleg se volt, lekopogom, se tegnap, se ma. Még, tegyük hozzá, amit mondtam nektek, hogy 2 hetes az kb. Volt egy iszonyú nagy Windows, nem is tudom, update, de szerintem mindenki látta. Már nem is emlékszem, hogy mit írtak ki, hogy változtattak ezen meg azon. Talán ez azt jelenti, hogy működni fog ezen túl, nem fog kikresselni, lekopogom. Majd előbb-utóbb úgy is kiderül, hogy jobb lett vagy nem. Mindenesetre köszönöm, hogy itt voltatok ismételten, remélem tetszett nektek. Ha igen, nyomjatok egy lájkot, amíg nem tettétek, meg kövessétek be. Anubis voltam, további szép napot. Holnap biztos nem, holnap péntek, de hétvégén találkozunk, ahogy mondtam nektek. Szombaton végig stream lesz élő. Már csak azért is, hogy megnézzük, hogy tényleg működik most már minden. Én nagyon bízok benne, meg vasárnap is délután lesz. Vasárnap délután még videókat fogok készíteni, hogy legyen tartalom jövő hétfő kedden mindenképpen. Szóval, köszönjük, hogy itt voltatok. Sziasztok! És még mindig nincs zene? Tegyük hozzá.